the capex at the same level and said, okay, we can't push this just with the capex. We have to get demand into the picture.
So is there a reset? Is there a reset given what was talk? You know, there was so much talk of supply side economics. In fact, Indians were looking during COVID, pointing to the Americans, how they got it wrong, led to inflationary spiral. Now, 4 years later, we are willing to say that
that's all. I mean, that's totally bollocks. I think that whole thing that the Americans got wrong and we got it right. We didn't do anything and got inflation. So, I mean, let's not sort of pat ourselves on the back.
But 4 years later, are we resetting?
We are resetting in the sense that there is a greater recognition that the private sector has to play a role. But the private sector now has an additional Trump challenge facing it. So whether it invests or not is going to be a major question. I mean, I'm like everybody celebrating that consumption is 61% of GDP, but I don't know whether it's 61% because we are doing better or with 61% because agriculture industry are doing poorly.
But with the country our size and the scale, you cannot have just the government or the private sector. Both have to.
Absolutely, it has to.
All engines have to fire.
All sectors have to do their job. Each one has its own role. And
so what we'll do is we'll take a break right now. We'll have more coverage, reactions to the budget. There's also the big general Delhi elections, which campaigning for which ends tomorrow. So we're tracking all of that and more.
2 days. Actually, now the government has got a real issue to go to the people of Delhi. Over the next 48 hours, you can expect a complete blitz from the government.
मैंने बोला था राजदीप को.
No. It's the BJP's vote. My point is slightly different.
A lot of those middle class voters in the
we can discuss the
election
politics of
leave and go to vote for the AAP. The BJP's hope with these changes in tax is that they will not go and they will stay on in the BJP.
No,
now, whether that happens
that's
or
not. Actually, that's not
what they'll try.
No, the demographics of Delhi are very different. I mean, we can discuss politics differently. If you look at the demographics of Delhi, the BJP has never gone below 38% of the vote. They get their vote from the middle class areas. The real battle of Delhi, and that's the debate, is where are the Jhuggi Jhopdis going to vote and where are the women voters going to vote. These are the two key constituencies that will decide Delhi.
We'll focus on the budget numbers today. We'll focus on elections 3rd, 4th, 5th and then 7th and 8th. So our coverage continues on the other side of a very quick break. Stay with us.
Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hi, I am AI anchor Sana, bringing the top headlines for you, presented by Motorola. Major tax relief for middle class in union budget, tax exemption on income up to 12 lakh rupees announced. Big boost for farmers in union budget, Kisan credit card limit raised to 5 lakh rupees, loans available at cheaper interest rates. Major accident in Haryana's Fatehabad, cruiser fell into canal amidst dense fog, several people missing.
Has sounded. Small state, big heart and bigger political dividends. This is no ordinary election. Delhi doesn't just vote, it challenges. It questions.
Delhi living in a literal virtual gas chamber.
It decides the narrative for the nation.
We are the only revenue surplus government in the country.
As the battle unfolds on the 5th and the verdict echoes on the 8th, we're here to bring it all to you. This is State of War Delhi.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 26 and minimum 11 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 25 and minimum 21 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 31 and minimum 20 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 30 and minimum 20 degrees. Chennai, maximum 28 and minimum 24 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 33 and minimum 18 degrees.
Presented by Kia Ceros, evolved by the future. Book now.
Co-presented by
Veka, India's largest selling UPVC window.
You're joining us here on our non-stop rolling coverage of the budget that's been presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. That's got the middle class cheering after finally you're seeing some income tax relief being announced by the Modi government. We're going to explain to you exactly what these new tax rates mean for you and me. Let's begin with the headlines. Big relief for middle and salaried class in budget. No income tax till 12 lakh income per year. Nil tax slab essentially extended from 7 lakh to 12 lakh. Now save up to 80,000 rupees per year in taxes. Big Bihar focus in union budget. Capacity expansion of Patna airport. New greenfield airports to come up. A Makhana board to be set up for farmers. big healthcare push also in budget. No custom duty on 36 life-saving drugs. 200 cancer daycare centers in district hospitals. EV and mobile batteries set to get cheaper. Defence budget hike in union budget. 6.81 lakh crore allotted. Emphasis on Atmanirbharta. Focus also on modernisation and welfare. Politics over union budget. Congress claims Bihar sobs in budget because of elections, says past promises yet to be fulfilled. Akhilesh claims Kumbh stampede deaths more important than the budget. And the big headline that's emerged from the budget is that there's been income tax relief finally for India's middle class. There have been hints about it from the government in the last 24 hours. And today, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, while putting the focus on the middle class and saying that they wanted to give back to the middle class, announced a mega tax bonanza. What exactly is it? Well, first, income tax will be zero up to an income of 12 lakh rupees. Now, also there are changes in the tax slabs which are reflecting there in the table you see on your screens. So there's zero income tax for earnings up to 12 lakh rupees or 12.75 lakh rupees for salaried taxpayers with a standard deduction of 75,000. Under the new regime, those earning 12 lakh rupees and above will get 80,000 rupees tax benefit. Those earning 18 lakh rupees and above will get 70,000 tax benefits. Those in the slab of 25 lakh rupees income and above will get a tax benefit of 1,25,000 rupees. And with that particular big announcement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on the budget, acknowledging how everyone's praising her for rolling out a good budget.
The middle class provides strength for India's growth. This government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, has always believed in the admirable energy and ability of the middle class in nation building. In recognition of their contribution, we have periodically reduced their tax burden. Right after 2014, the nil tax slab was raised to 2.5 lakhs of rupees, which was further raised to 5 lakh rupees in 2019 and to 7 lakh rupees in 2023. This is reflective of our government's trust on the middle class taxpayers. I am now happy to announce that there will be no income tax payable up to income of 12 lakh rupees. Slabs and rates are being changed across the board to benefit all taxpayers. The new structure will substantially reduce the taxes of the middle class and leave more money in their hands, boosting household consumption, savings and investment. In the new tax regime, I propose to revise tax rate structures as follows: 0 to 4 lakh rupees nil, 4.8 lakh rupees to 4 to 8 lakh rupees 5%, 8 to 12 lakh rupees 10%, 12 to 16 lakh rupees 15%, 16 to 20 lakh rupees 20%, 20 to 24 lakh rupees 25%, and above 24 lakh rupees 30%. To taxpayers up to 12 lakh of normal income, other than special rate income such as capital gains. I read that again. To taxpayers up to 12 lakh of income, other than special rate income such as capital gains, tax rebate is being provided in addition to the benefit due to slab rate reduction in such a manner that there is no tax payable by them. Our government is committed to keeping an ear to the ground and a finger on the pulse and responding while balancing our national building efforts. The following measures will detail just how our government, under the guidance of PM Modi, has taken steps to understand and address the needs voiced by our citizens. My tax proposals are guided by this spirit. The objectives of my proposals are as follows. Personal income tax reforms with special focus on middle class. Rationalization of TDS and TCS for easing difficulties. Encouraging voluntary compliance. Reducing compliance burden. Ease of doing business. Employment and investment.
So that was the moment towards the very end of the Finance Minister's speech that she actually spoke about personal tax and announced that big step for the middle class, that relief. But there was a hint that came in yesterday. Prime Minister Modi, just before the start of the budget session of Parliament, did drop a hint about this tax relief for the middle class, for the poor.
मैं मां लक्ष्मी से प्रार्थना करता हूं कि देश के हर गरीब एवं मध्यम वर्ग समुदाय पर मां लक्ष्मी की विशेष कृपा रहे.
Okay, at this point, even as you've got this announcement being made, let's understand if this amount of income till 12 lakhs is actually tax-free. Is it a rebate or is it an exemption? Well, at this point, if we break it down for you, under Section 87A, the rebate has been hiked to 60,000 rupees. Previously, it was about 25,000 rupees. What that means is that income up to 12 lakh rupees is effectively made tax-free. As I said earlier, Section 87A rebate was earlier 25,000 rupees. Again, to highlight for you, from 25,000, it's gone to 60,000. So, Section 87A is only valid till income really goes, this in fact made income up to 7 lakh rupees completely tax-free. And then you also had the fact that as per these slabs, the tax on, in fact, income up to 12 lakhs is 60,000. As I told you, the rebate now has become 60,000, which is why this particular slab now becomes tax-free. 5% on 4 to 8 lakhs is 20,000 rupees. 10% on 8 to 12 lakh rupees is 40,000. And that's exactly why it becomes tax-free income. It's not an exemption. It is a rebate. And remember that this comes into effect only if you choose the new tax regime. And now the important highlight is that this entire new tax system, the new tax slabs and this new rebate will come into effect only from April, not immediately. It is for 2025 to 2026. So from April is when that financial year actually kicks off. Karishma Asudani is joining us live with more details really on the takeaways from this budget. Karishma, everyone, of course, is talking about how to read into this income tax relief that's come for the middle class. And if you look at really this particular column that we have, I'll just explain this before I bring in Karishma as well, of how you save tax. And we've broken it down to different amounts right now. So you have rebate. Again, let me highlight, not an exemption, it's a rebate. So on 8 lakhs, the total benefit you will get is 30,000. The present tax is 30,000, you get back 30,000. So you take it down to each of the amounts annually. At 12 lakh, 80,000, you get back 80,000 right now. So that really is the difference. Karishma, important to highlight here that this is not an exemption. It's a rebate. What that means is that first, while it will be taken away from your income, you can go ahead and submit the claims and then it comes back to you.
Akshata, these are not refunds, but it's a rebate, which means you still continue to file your income tax, but you do not pay the tax. It is important for you to document the fact that you have filed your return, despite the fact that you're earning about 12,75,000 and you don't have to pay any tax. It's very similar to what government introduced in 2023 when it came to the 7 lakh exemption plus a standard deduction of 50,000, which later was increased to 75,000. So this is more like a rebate. It's not a refund, and it's continuing from the similar concept of what was introduced last year. Now, the change of slab also comes in as a major relief for at least those who have been earning up to 20 lakh per annum, and it was one of the major requests from the individual taxpayers and the tax fraternity to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Definitely, Akshata, I must say that the budget had a dramatic end, and it had a dramatic end with the most important announcement, the much awaited announcement for middle class, because the question that we've been asking after each budget is what will the Aam Aadmi get? And guess before the much awaited elections, the Aam Aadmi has got what they've been anticipating for long. However, I'd like to put across a challenge. While government is willing to let go of their 1 lakh crore tax revenues, I think it could be slightly challenging for them to balance their fiscal math. A 4.4% deficit target by letting go of revenue, this could be slightly ambitious according to me.
All right, Karishma, thanks very much for joining us with those details. Karishma, breaking down really what this new tax slab means for you and me. Let me open this up, and joining us on this broadcast is Rajan Navani, Vice Chairman and MD of Jetline Group of Companies. We also have Mr. Deepak Shetty, CEO and Managing Director of JCB India Limited. Mr. Shetty, I'd like to begin with you. Good afternoon. What did you make of the budget, sir? There has been a focus on domestic manufacturing.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I would like to congratulate the Honorable Finance Minister on a very balanced budget. It is not having some big bang announcements other than the personal IT that you spoke about. But if I specifically look at the manufacturing sector, it's very positive that the Honorable Finance Minister has spoken in length about the support to the MSME sector. And we have seen around the world where manufacturing has grown. It has not grown only on the basis of the big investments by the big manufacturing companies, but more supported by the MSME companies. We have seen that in Germany, where the role that Mittelstand has played. And the focus that the Honorable Finance Minister has given to the MSME sector is very heartening. Particularly the focus on also the ease of doing business, handling issues or focusing on issues like land reforms, land allocation, also the focus on the logistics part. I'm sure all of this will help spruce up the manufacturing sector and support our goal of being the manufacturing hub or the global supply chain partner. There's one more element for support of manufacturing which I want to talk about, is also easing of custom duties on some of the key elements. I think this also will help the manufacturing sector on a whole.
Rajan Navani, your view of the budget, do you think that it's about 3 M's essentially, manufacturing, middle class and MSMEs?
No, I think it is this and beyond. I think what the Honorable Finance Minister very well put right in the beginning, that, this is a roadmap to a Viksit Bharat, a long-term agenda-setting exercise, so to say, is what I thought of the budget today, where the government is setting direction and saying we need to get multiple stakeholders to come together. And I think it's particularly encouraging for the corporate sector and here at CI and others, where, the fact that we have to create a trust-based regulatory framework. And I don't think an ambitious vision of India becoming the 3rd largest economy in the world, of having to grow at 7 to 8% year on year for the next 25 years to create a Viksit Bharat can happen without a very inclusive, multi-stakeholder agenda, for the country. So I think in many ways it set that out, particularly the investment in people, in economy and innovation. I think people, while we heard from farmers and the MSME sector, which you rightly pointed out, what truly appealed to me was the investment in youth, building national skilling centers, 5 COEs were announced, bringing the 1 crore gig workers into a social kind of a security thing is a brilliant way for us to give, the messaging that today it is okay to derive, a livelihood from multiple different streams, because it's no longer, a career for a lifetime, that is going to exist with the young generation. And, this is the generation that is going to not only be the most productive generation for the next 25 years, but also the large consumer base. So, giving that tax relief to the 12 lakh and, clearly demonstrating that additional income in the hands of many of whom are young people and who are, rising in their careers, is again a great way to, see all of these incentives get aligned. Lastly, I think I want to talk about this entire impact of technology, because I think at the end of the day, we need to see how India can actually now move from serving the world to actually leading the world, creating products, IPs, using, frontier tech, new technologies. And while there was some focus, especially with the AI now adding to education, I think it was not enough. We do have an innovation fund of funds going to deep tech of 10,000 crores, but we must recognize just a few days back, one announcement from China took away $600 billion of market cap of one company in one day. So, the stakes today with Gen AI are very high, and I think it's very well established around the world that changes like these are here to stay. So for India to take a far more proactive, measure when it comes to, new deep technologies, creator economies, new ways in which India can get leadership is something that I would like to see a lot more, of course, beyond the budget as well, the private sector and multiple stakeholders coming together to drive that change.
And,
but overall, I think directionally a great budget, for us to move forward.
Okay, they will still have to meet that target, of course, of increasing their growth figures to get to the Viksit Bharat vision by 2047. But Mr. Deepak Shetty, also on the issue of spending, the budget clearly raises the bet on spending here. So what do you make of the Finance Minister also proposing raising the next year's fiscal year's capital expenditure up to 11.21 lakh crore?
I think it's a very welcome announcement. We have seen that this government has continuously focused on infrastructure development, and that trajectory has continued. On top of the announcement of 11 lakh crores that you mentioned, we all know that the infrastructure creation which takes place across the country is not only based on the work which is done by funds given by the central government, basically the expressway or the NHI type of activities, but almost 40% of infrastructure is created, particularly in rural India, by the state governments. And here is where I welcome the 1.5 lakh crores of interest-free loans to the states. I'm sure this will help bring focus on rural infrastructure creation, particularly under the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. On top of this whole focus on agriculture. We are an agriculture-based economy, and this focus on agriculture not only will help calm down the inflation that we have seen, particularly on the food items, but also help spruce up the rural economy. So on a whole, I see that the government has continued to focus on infrastructure development. I also want to mention, it was very heartening for me to be present when the Honorable Prime Minister launched the Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti project. Presently, it has been held back to the government agencies. I think opening it out for the private sector is a huge initiative. We have seen that in the past, there's so much of rework which is happening or doing and undoing of infrastructure projects, particularly roads being laid out and dug out. I feel this will help bring more focus, more planning in the way the infrastructure is being created across the country.
No, very true. And the Finance Minister also spoke of this, about focusing on public-private partnerships, particularly for infrastructure development. We've seen how that can truly be a game changer for the country. So it's good to see that the government is actually building on that. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on this broadcast with your views on the budget. We've given you what India Inc. has to say about this budget. What about our politicians? Let's play out for you what parliamentarians had to say soon after the budget was presented.
ये जो बजट की विशेषता ये है कि हमारी इकोनॉमी को एक्सेलरेट करने वाला ये बजट है। जहां तक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को हर समय वित्त मंत्री प्राथमिकता देते हैं, इस समय भी हमारा बजट बढ़ा है, जिसके कारण इंफ्रा रोड सेक्टर में इसका बहुत बड़ा फायदा होगा। मुझे इस बात की खुशी है कि कृषि विभाग की ओर उन्होंने विशेष रूप से ध्यान दिया है। तिलहन हो, विशेष रूप से तेल बिया हो, इसके उत्पादन कैसे बढ़े और किसान आत्मनिर्भर कैसे बने, इसका भी विचार किया गया है। विशेष रूप से इनकम टैक्स के बारे में एक रिफॉर्म करके नया कानून लाकर इसको और सरलीकरण उसका करना, ये जनता के लिए बहुत बड़ी राहत होगी।
वित्तीय वर्ष 2025-26 के बजट में डिफेंस मिनिस्ट्री को 6,81,000 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक का एलोकेशन किया गया है, जो पिछले साल के बजट एलोकेशन से 9.5% अधिक है। और मुझे बताते हुए प्रसन्नता हो रही है कि डिफेंस बजट यूनियन बजट का लगभग 13.44% है। डिफेंस फोर्सेस का मॉडर्नाइजेशन हमारी सरकार की यह प्राथमिकता रही है और हम इसके लिए निरंतर कार्यरत हैं। इसके लिए 2025-26 में 1,80,000 करोड़ रुपए का कैपिटल एलोकेशन किया गया है, जो हमारी सेनाओं की कैपेबिलिटी को और अधिक बढ़ाएगा।
देखिए, ओपोजिशन ऐसा नहीं कहना चाहिए बिहार स्पेसिफिक है, तो बिहार क्या हमारा देश का राज्य नहीं है क्या? बिहार आगे बढ़ेगा, सब कुछ होना चाहिए। बिहार के साथ साथ पूरे राज्य के लिए, पूरा देश के लिए काम किया है। इसको एक, अगर किसी राज्य में एक कोई प्रोजेक्ट घोषणा होता है तो बजट क्या एक राज्य के लिए होता है क्या? हर राज्य देश का हिस्सा होता है। तो मैं तो मखाना खाने वाला आदमी हूँ, मखाना बोर्ड बनाया तो और कुछ नहीं होगा क्या?
I would recommend you read the whole budget, but if you have to look at the main key, I think this is a feel-good budget. This is one in which it will incur more spending. Infrastructure, the capex has gone up. If you look at the income tax, especially personal income tax, again it's a very massive increase from 7 lakhs to 12 lakhs. And if you add the salary class, it's 12,75,000.
ये आत्मनिर्भर भारत के निर्माण का बजट है। विकास की ललक, विश्वास की महक और विकसित भारत के निर्माण की तड़फ है। कृषि और किसानों के कल्याण पर सर्वोच्च ध्यान दिया गया है। चाहे किसानों के निवेश की क्षमता बढ़ाने का सवाल हो, किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड पर अब 5 लाख रुपया तक मिलेंगे, यह मध्यम वर्ग के लिए वरदान है। कोई कल्पना नहीं करता था कि इनकम टैक्स में छूट की सीमा 12 लाख रुपए तक हो जाएगी, और इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद वित्त मंत्री जी को और विशेषकर प्रधानमंत्री जी को।
हमारी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर निर्मला सीतारमन जी ने एक बहुत ही जबरदस्त इस प्रकार का बजट पेश किया है। विशेष रूप से इसको हमारे मध्यम वर्ग के लिए ड्रीम बजट कहा जा सकता है। ऐसा बजट उन्होंने पेश किया है, इसलिए मैं उन्हें बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। विशेष रूप से इनकम टैक्स का एग्जम्पशन स्लैब जिस प्रकार से परिवर्तित किया गया है और 12 लाख रुपए तक कोई इनकम टैक्स नहीं लगेगा, ये जो घोषणा है ये निश्चित रूप से एक मील का पत्थर भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था के इतिहास में साबित होगा।
In a way, the Honorable Finance Minister has met the demand of large section of middle class, particularly as more and more poor are coming into the middle class with rising incomes. The last report was 25 crore poor have now come into the middle class, have been relieved from multidimensional poverty. I think it's a great relief to all those people. It's a multidimensional budget which through various interventions is going to encourage consumption demand, give a boost to economic activity, and at the same time provide stability to the country's economy.
हर एक विषय पर पूर्ण रूप से अध्ययन करके एक नया मानचित्र तय किया गया है, और सबसे बड़ी बात कि हमारे जितने भी टैक्स पेयर्स हैं उनको इतनी बड़ी राहत दी गई है। 12 लाख रुपए तक कोई टैक्स नहीं, और हर एक ब्रैकेट में आप देखोगे तो करीब करीब 40 से 25% की राहत हाई इनकम टैक्स पेयर के लिए तक भी दिया गया है। तो ये एक कॉम्पोजिट बजट है, एक बजट है जो भारत को आगे ले जाएगा, और एक ऐसा बजट है जो भारत को केवल आत्मनिर्भर नहीं लेकिन भारत को एक विश्व गुरु के रूप में स्थापित करेगा।
ये आम आदमी का बजट है, ये गरीबों का बजट है, ये किसानों का बजट है, उद्यमियों का बजट है, मिडिल क्लास की चिंता करता है और देश की चिंता। 2 शब्द, शानदार बजट, जोरदार बजट।
अगर आपको याद होगा कि लास्ट बजट जब हुआ तो कह रहे थे कि आंध्र का बजट, अभी बिहार का बजट कह रहे हैं, दिल्ली का बजट कह रहे हैं। मुझे लगता है कि अभी ऑपोजिशन को आलोचना करने के सिवाय दूसरा कुछ काम बचा नहीं है। मैं कहूँगा यहाँ पर कि ये सही मायने में कॉमन मैन्स बजट आप इसको कह सकते हैं कि कॉमन मैन का बजट है, मिडिल क्लास का बजट है। मिडिल क्लास को सबसे बड़ी राहत, किसी ने भी विचार नहीं किया था कि इतनी बड़ी राहत मिडिल क्लास को सरकार के माध्यम से दी जाएगी। जो राहत आज इस सरकार के माध्यम से दी गई है, 12 लाख रुपए तक एक भी रुपया जो है टैक्स भरना नहीं पड़ेगा। मुझे लगता है कि ये बजट सही मायने में वेलकमिंग है।
She started with agriculture. She started with our concern for the farmers. We are aware of the fact that a huge population is into farming, and 63.64% of the population of the country are in rural areas. So rural prosperity has also been looked at, and for the urban areas also there are things. So I think no segment of population is left untouched. It's a complete budget.
So let's explain to you the new tax regime, and we're simplifying it by explaining to you what exactly the regime was earlier versus now. And mind you, this is if you are under the new tax regime. The idea is the government is trying to get more people onto the new tax regime. How are they doing that? Look at the percentage really of the tax now based on before and now. Up to 3 lakh rupees. Now from up to 3 lakh, it's become up to 4 lakh rupees. 3 to 7 lakh rupees at 5%. Now it's between 4 to 8 lakhs. 7 to 10 lakhs, 10%. 8 to 12 lakh, 10%. But mind you, this entire figure till 12 lakh, there's a rebate applicable. So till here, you essentially don't pay any income tax. Now you go through the figures. At one point, 30% is above 15 lakhs. That's changed substantially. It's only about 24 lakh rupees that you pay 30% of tax. 12 to 15 lakh earlier was 20%. Now if you compare that, 12 to 16 lakh rupees income is 15%. So for every slab of income, there is some change, some impact that you will feel, especially if you're part of the old tax regime and switch over to the new tax regime. The idea of the government is to get more people to embrace the new tax regime. Let me bring in Aishwarya Paliwal for more details on this. Aishwarya, the middle class is celebrating what they believe to be, of course, tax relief after quite some time. But you have some reactions coming in saying, look, this is no transformative budget. And is this, timed to the elections, to the Delhi elections? We saw a slew of announcements also for Bihar.
Well, this is what the opposition parties have had to say, because in the morning we did see that they were all saying that we don't think the government will give anything to the majority of the people, but that is something that the government has done. So with regards to that, the opposition could not speak a lot, but yes, keeping Bihar in mind. In fact, the first glimpse, Akshata, the first hint was from the PM when he said that Lakshmi ji will come to the middle class and to the poor. So that was the first hint. The second hint today was when Nirmala did not just speak anything, but she wore the sari, the Madhubani sari, which comes from the state of Bihar. So these two were very, very clear hints that this is what the government is actually looking at. This is what they are thinking about. And now those thoughts have been put in paper. So definitely it's a huge relief. Now, how will this impact all the other people is something that we will have to see in days to come. But yes, one thing that the government understands is that there are pain points, and they are now looking at those pain points. And obviously the 240 seats, Akshata, that the BJP got was also telling them that something is wrong, and these are just fixes that the government now is looking at doing, making sure that the middle class stays with the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Well, it was a long time coming also because politically you're seeing all of this talk of freebies and every political party essentially indulging in it, which did have the middle class very, very frustrated, saying our taxpayers' money, our tax money is going only in freebies. So this was in a sense coming, and the government has delivered on that. Thanks very much, Aishwarya, for joining us with those details. I did mention the kind of sops being given to Bihar, a poll-bound state. We'll tell you those details of what really has been announced in the budget for the state of Bihar on the other side of a very, very short break.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hi, I am AI anchor Sana, bringing the top headlines for you, presented by Motorola. Major tax relief for middle class in union budget, tax exemption on income up to 12 lakh rupees announced. Big boost for farmers in union budget, Kisan credit card limit raised to 5 lakh rupees, loans available at cheaper interest rates. Major accident in Haryana's Fatehabad, cruiser fell into canal amidst dense fog, several people missing.
Development of at least 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy by 2047 is essential for our energy transition efforts. For an active partnership with the private sector towards this goal, amendments to the Atomic Energy Act and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act will be taken up. A nuclear energy mission for research and development of small modular reactors with an outlay of 20,000 crore will be set up. At least 5 indigenously developed small modular reactors will be operationalized by 2033.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
UDAN regional connectivity schemes. UDAN has enabled 1.5 crore middle-class people to meet their aspirations for speedier travel. The scheme has connected 88 airports, and operationalized 619 routes. Inspired by that success, a modified UDAN scheme will be launched to enhance regional connectivity to 120 new destinations and carry 4 crore passengers in the next 10 years. 4 crore additional passengers in the next 10 years. The scheme will also support helipads and smaller airports in hilly, aspirational and northeast regional districts. Greenfield airports will be facilitated in Bihar to meet the future needs of the state. These will be in addition to the expansion of the capacity of Patna Airport and a brownfield airport in Beta.
बजट है। हमने कई सेक्टर्स युवाओं के लिए खोल दिए हैं। सामान्य नागरिक विकसित भारत के मिशन को ड्राइव करने वाला है। ये बजट एक फोर्स मल्टीप्लायर है। ये बजट सेविंग्स को बढ़ाएगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट को बढ़ाएगा, कंजम्पशन को बढ़ाएगा और ग्रोथ को भी तेजी से बढ़ाएगा। मैं वित्त मंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण जी और उनकी पूरी टीम को इस जनता जनार्दन का बजट, पीपल्स का बजट, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। साथियों, आमतौर पर बजट का फोकस इस बात पर रहता है कि सरकार का खजाना कैसे भरेगा, लेकिन ये बजट उससे बिल्कुल उल्टा है। लेकिन ये बजट देश के नागरिकों की जेब कैसे भरेगी, देश के नागरिकों की बचत कैसे बढ़ेगी और देश के नागरिक विकास के भागीदार कैसे बनेंगे, ये बजट इसकी एक बहुत मजबूत नींव रखता है। साथियों, इस बजट में रिफॉर्म की दिशा में महत्वपूर्ण कदम उठाए गए हैं। न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी में प्राइवेट सेक्टर को बढ़ावा देने का निर्णय बहुत ही ऐतिहासिक है। ये आने वाले समय में सिविल न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी का बड़ा योगदान देश के विकास में सुनिश्चित करेगा। बजट में रोजगार के सभी क्षेत्रों को हर प्रकार से प्राथमिकता दी गई है। लेकिन मैं दो चीजों पर ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहूंगा, उन रिफॉर्म्स की मैं चर्चा करना चाहूंगा जो आने वाले समय में बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन लाने वाले हैं। एक, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर स्टेटस देने के कारण भारत में बड़े शिप्स के निर्माण को बढ़ावा मिलेगा, आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान को गति मिलेगी। और हम सब जानते हैं कि शिप बिल्डिंग ये सर्वाधिक रोजगार देने वाला क्षेत्र है। उसी प्रकार से देश में टूरिज्म के लिए बहुत संभावना है। महत्वपूर्ण 50 टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशन, वहां पर जो होटल्स बनाएंगे, उस होटल को पहली बार इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के दायरे में लाकर टूरिज्म पर बहुत बल दिया है। इससे हॉस्पिटैलिटी सेक्टर को, जो रोजगार का बहुत बड़ा क्षेत्र है, और टूरिज्म जो रोजगार का सबसे बड़ा क्षेत्र है, एक प्रकार से चारों तरफ रोजगार के अवसर पैदा करने वाला एक क्षेत्र को ऊर्जा देने वाला काम करेगा। आज देश विकास भी, विरासत भी, इस मंत्र को लेकर चल रहा है। इस बजट में भी इसके लिए भी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण और ठोस कदम उठाए गए हैं। 1 करोड़ पांडुलिपियों के लिए संरक्षण के लिए, मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट के लिए ज्ञान भारतम मिशन लॉन्च किया गया है। साथ ही भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा से प्रेरित एक नेशनल डिजिटल रिपोजिटरी बनाई जाएगी। यानी टेक्नोलॉजी का भरपूर उपयोग किया जाएगा और हमारा जो परंपरागत ज्ञान है उसमें से अमृत निचोड़ने का भी काम होगा। साथियों, बजट में किसानों के लिए जो घोषणा हुई है वो कृषि क्षेत्र और समूची ग्रामीण अर्थव्यवस्था में नई क्रांति का आधार बनेगी। पीएम धन धान्य कृषि योजना के तहत 100 जिलों में सिंचाई और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का डेवलपमेंट होगा। किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड की लिमिट 5 लाख तक होने से उन्हें ज्यादा मदद मिलेगी। साथियों, अब इस बजट में 12 लाख रुपए तक की आय को टैक्स से मुक्त कर दिया गया है। सभी आय वर्ग के लोगों के लिए टैक्स में भी कमी की गई है। इसका बहुत बड़ा फायदा हमारे मिडिल क्लास को, नौकरी पेशे करने वाले, जिनकी आय बंधी हुई है, ऐसे लोगों को, मिडिल क्लास को इससे बहुत बड़ा लाभ होने वाला है। उसी प्रकार से जो नए नए प्रोफेशन में आए हैं, जिनको नए नए जॉब मिले हैं, इनकम टैक्स की ये मुक्ति उनके लिए एक बहुत बड़ा अवसर बन जाएगी। साथियों, इस बजट में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पर 360 डिग्री फोकस है, ताकि एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को, एमएसएमईज को, छोटे उद्यमियों को मजबूती मिले और नई जॉब पैदा हो। नेशनल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग मिशन से लेकर क्लीन टेक, लेदर, फुटवियर, टॉय इंडस्ट्री जैसे अनेक सेक्टर्स को विशेष समर्थन दिया गया है। लक्ष्य साफ है कि भारतीय प्रोडक्ट्स ग्लोबल मार्केट में अपनी चमक बिखेर सके। साथियों, राज्यों में इन्वेस्टमेंट का एक वाइब्रेंट कॉम्पिटिटिव माहौल बने, इस पर बजट में विशेष जोर दिया गया है। एमएसएमईज और स्टार्टअप के लिए क्रेडिट गारंटी को दोगुना करने की घोषणा भी हुई है। देश के एससी, एसटी और महिला जो नए उद्यमी बनना चाहते हैं, उनको 2 करोड़ रुपए तक के लोन की योजना भी लाई गई है, और वो भी बिना गारंटी। इस बजट में न्यू एज इकोनॉमी को ध्यान में रखते हुए गीग वर्कर्स के लिए बहुत बड़ी घोषणा की गई है। पहली बार गीग वर्कर्स का ई श्रम पोर्टल पर रजिस्ट्रेशन किया जाएगा। इसके बाद इन साथियों को स्वास्थ्य सेवा और दूसरी सोशल सिक्योरिटी स्कीम्स का लाभ मिलेगा। ये डिग्निटी ऑफ लेबर, इसके प्रति, श्रम एव जयते के प्रति सरकार के कमिटमेंट को दर्शाता है। रेगुलेटरी रिफॉर्म से लेकर फाइनेंशियल रिफॉर्म्स, जन विश्वास 2.0 जैसे कदमों से मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट और ट्रस्ट बेस्ड गवर्नेंस के हमारे कमिटमेंट को और बल मिलेगा। साथियों, ये बजट न केवल देश की वर्तमान आवश्यकताओं को ध्यान में रखता है, बल्कि हमें भविष्य की तैयारी करने में भी मदद करता है। स्टार्टअप के लिए डीप टेक फंड, जियोस्पेशल मिशन और न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी मिशन ऐसे ही महत्वपूर्ण कदम है। मैं सभी देशवासियों को एक बार फिर इस ऐतिहासिक पीपल्स बजट की बधाई देता हूं, और फिर एक बार वित्त मंत्री जी को भी बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Okay, so that's Prime Minister Modi hailing the budget, referring to it as a Janta Janardhan budget, a people's budget, speaking about the focus on infrastructure, on manufacturing, and also the fact that the budget is focused on social security for gig workers, about AI. All of that is something that the Prime Minister has referred to while going ahead and hailing this budget, calling it a force multiplier and saying that it's essentially for the people. The Prime Minister congratulating Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman over the budget, speaking about infrastructure, talking about how the focus is essentially on building a self-reliant India. He's also said that on the focus on farmers, this budget will help farmers a great deal, will revolutionize agriculture in the country. Interestingly, Prime Minister Modi, while also hailing the budget, taking a taunt at the opposition, saying previous governments only believed in looting the people for their own benefit. He's focused on this budget, saying it's a people's budget because it gives back to the people, referring to also the changes, the relief that's come in as far as income tax goes. But beyond that, the Prime Minister also has spoken about his vision. He's repeatedly spoken of a Viksit Bharat by 2047. And it's along those lines that he speaks of infrastructure, of self-reliance, about creating jobs, revolutionizing agriculture and much more. Let's get your highlights.
आम तौर पर बजट का फोकस इस बात पर रहता है कि सरकार का खजाना कैसे भरेगा, लेकिन ये बजट उससे बिल्कुल उल्टा है। लेकिन ये बजट देश के नागरिकों की जेब कैसे भरेगी, देश के नागरिकों की बचत कैसे बढ़ेगी और देश के नागरिक विकास के भागीदार कैसे बनेंगे, ये बजट इसकी एक बहुत मजबूत नींव रखता है। साथियों, इस बजट में रिफॉर्म की दिशा में महत्वपूर्ण कदम उठाए गए हैं। न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी में प्राइवेट सेक्टर को बढ़ावा देने का निर्णय बहुत ही ऐतिहासिक है। ये आने वाले समय में सिविल न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी का बड़ा योगदान देश के विकास में सुनिश्चित करेगा। बजट में रोजगार के सभी क्षेत्रों को हर प्रकार से प्राथमिकता दी गई है। देश में टूरिज्म के लिए बहुत संभावना है। महत्वपूर्ण 50 टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशन, वहां पर जो होटल्स बनाएंगे, उस होटल को पहली बार इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के दायरे में लाकर टूरिज्म पर बहुत बल दिया है। इससे हॉस्पिटैलिटी सेक्टर को, जो रोजगार का बहुत बड़ा क्षेत्र है, और टूरिज्म जो रोजगार का सबसे बड़ा क्षेत्र है, एक प्रकार से चारों तरफ रोजगार के अवसर पैदा करने वाला एक क्षेत्र को ऊर्जा देने वाला काम करेगा। आज देश विकास भी, विरासत भी, इस मंत्र को लेकर चल रहा है। इस बजट में भी इसके लिए भी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण और ठोस कदम उठाए गए हैं। 1 करोड़ पांडुलिपियों के लिए संरक्षण के लिए, मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट के लिए ज्ञान भारतम मिशन लॉन्च किया गया है। साथ ही भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा से प्रेरित एक नेशनल डिजिटल रिपोजिटरी बनाई जाएगी। यानी टेक्नोलॉजी का भरपूर उपयोग किया जाएगा और हमारा जो परंपरागत ज्ञान है, उसमें से अमृत निचोड़ने का भी काम होगा।
Okay, those were the highlights of what Prime Minister Modi had to say. We'll also be talking about some of the budget highlights. We've told you all about really the tax relief. The Prime Minister saying this is a Janta Janardhan budget, a people's budget, and that's why the focus has been on boosting the savings of the people, not filling up government coffers, but ensuring that people get more money, that their savings are more, that there's more money in their accounts. We'll be talking about that and also getting you other highlights like the budget, talking so much about tech, about artificial intelligence. All those highlights coming your way in just a few moments from now. I'm slipping into a very, very short break.
UDAN regional connectivity schemes. UDAN has enabled 1.5 crore middle-class people to meet their aspirations for speedier travel. The scheme has connected 88 airports, and operationalized 619 routes. Inspired by that success, a modified UDAN scheme will be launched to enhance regional connectivity to 120 new destinations and carry 4 crore passengers in the next 10 years. 4 crore additional passengers in the next 10 years. The scheme will also support helipads and smaller airports in hilly, aspirational and northeast regional districts. Greenfield airports will be facilitated in Bihar to meet the future needs of the state. These will be in addition to the expansion of the capacity of Patna Airport and a brownfield airport in Beta.
Welcome back. You're joining us for our rolling coverage where we decode for you the highlights of the budget presented by Nirmala Sitharaman. The BJP terming this as the Aam Aadmi budget, the people's budget. The Prime Minister calling this the Janta Janardhan budget. But the opposition has lashed out at this budget presented by the Modi government. They're referring to it as a political gimmick before the Delhi elections. According to the opposition, this budget has reached out to the middle class just because we're a few days away from the Delhi elections. You've had the Congress, the Uddhav Sena, the Trinamool Congress, all asserting that there are discrepancies in this budget that people need to talk about. They've also questioned the amount that's been given to poll-bound Bihar, saying what that clearly states is that this is a political budget.
ये वही पुराना बजट है जो पिछले 10 सालों से हम सुनते आ रहे हैं, जहां पर शब्दों के अलावा ना गरीब को कुछ मिलता है, ना किसान को कुछ मिलता है, ना मध्यम वर्ग को कुछ मिलता है। विभिन्न टैक्स के जो प्रपोजल्स आते हैं, नतीजे आते हैं, वो सिर्फ बड़े बड़े कंपनियों के मालिकों को फायदा दिलाता है और आज भी यही है। बार बार सिर्फ किसानों और मध्यम वर्ग सिर्फ शब्दों के लिए ही है। टैक्स में बार बार रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग पहले भी हुआ, लेकिन मध्यम वर्ग को कोई राहत नहीं मिली। जीएसटी जिस प्रकार से जीएसटी, कभी इस पे जीएसटी, कभी उस पे जीएसटी, तो आज भी मुझे लगता है कि पिछले 10 सालों में जितने भी बजट है, सबसे कमजोर बजट इस साल का बजट रहा है। एकदम नॉन इवेंट है। दिस बजट इज अ नॉन इवेंट।
मैं कहूँगी कि संतुष्ट इसलिए हूँ कि आज जनता की सुनवाई फाइनली इस गूंगी भरी सरकार ने, पिछले 10 साल से जनता की एक ही अपेक्षा थी, एक ही मांग थी कि आप करिए, जो गरीब जनता है उनके लिए काम करिए, उनके लिए व्यवस्थाएं बनाएं, और जो मिडिल क्लास है उनको भी राहत की सांस मिले। 12 लाख तक की जिसकी सैलरी होगी और वो न्यू टैक्स रेजिम में चला गया होगा, उनको ये राहत मिलेगी, तो उसका हम स्वागत करते हैं क्योंकि ये उनकी लड़ाई का महत्वपूर्ण
बजट के आंकड़ों से जरूरी है मरने वालों के आंकड़े सरकार दे, जो लोग खोए हैं उनके आंकड़े दें, और इस बजट ने मायूस किया है। इस बजट में कोई उम्मीद नहीं, नाउम्मीदी का बजट है ये। 12 लाख की छूट दी गई है इनकम टैक्स में और सब लोग स्वागत कर रहे हैं इसका। इवन विपक्षी पार्टियां ने किसान की आय कहाँ बढ़ी? किसान की जब तक आय नहीं बढ़ेगी और नौजवानों को नौकरी रोजगार के अवसर नहीं मिलेंगे, आप कितना भी कुछ दे दें और महंगाई पे आप नियंत्रण नहीं करेंगे, आप कितना भी रिबेट देंगे, वो महंगाई के माध्यम से जेब खाली कर देगा।
आम आदमी के लिए कुछ नहीं है, क्योंकि आपको पता है कि इस साल बिहार में चुनाव है तो बिहार का चुनाव को रखे सर में रख के उन्होंने पूरा बिहार के लिए एक बजट रोल आउट किया है, जहाँ पे हर चीज बिहार को दिया है। पिछला बार भी 2024 में जुलाई में जब बजट पेश किया था तो आपने देखा था सब कुछ आंध्र प्रदेश और बिहार के लिए किया गया था। तो आंध्र प्रदेश का तो चुनाव हो गया, अब इस साल बिहार में चुनाव है। आंध्र प्रदेश में 4.5 साल कोई चुनाव है नहीं, सब कुछ बिहार के लिए किया गया। जब से बीजेपी सदन चला रहे, जब से सरकार बनाई है 2014 साल से आज तक कुछ नहीं मिला बंगाल को, और आज भी इस बजट में बंगाल के लिए कुछ नहीं है। ये दुखद है, अनफॉर्चुनेट।
छोटे व्यापारी हैं, उनको क्या लाभ हो रहा है? उनके 12 लाख के आमदनी पर तो आपने कोई टैक्स की राहत दी नहीं। आपने देखा कोई ऐलान नहीं किया गया इस प्रकार का कि जो पूंजीपति हैं, बड़े बड़े जो प्रधानमंत्री जी के दोस्त हैं, बीजेपी के दोस्त हैं, जिनका लाखों करोड़ रुपए का कर्जा बाकी है, उनका कर्जा माफ नहीं किया जाएगा। लाखों करोड़ रुपए का कर्जा जो माफ किया गया है उसकी वसूली कैसे की जाएगी, इसके बारे में कोई स्पष्टीकरण नहीं।
So the opposition, as expected, unimpressed by the budget. We're going to continue decoding for you all that you need to know about budget, how it impacts your life and much more. I'll be joining you with the headlines in just a few moments from now.
Development of at least 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy by 2047 is essential for our energy transition efforts. For an active partnership with the private sector towards this goal, amendments to the Atomic Energy Act and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act will be taken up. A nuclear energy mission for research and development of small modular reactors with an outlay of 20,000 crore will be set up. At least 5 indigenously developed small modular reactors will be operationalized by 2033.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 26 and minimum 11 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 25 and minimum 21 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 31 and minimum 20 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 30 and minimum 20 degrees. Chennai, maximum 28 and minimum 24 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 33 and minimum 18 degrees.
Co-presented by Kia Ceros, evolved by the future. Book now. Co-presented by Veka, India's largest selling UPVC window.
Hello and welcome. You're joining us live here on India Today for our rolling coverage where we decode for you all the highlights of Budget 2025. Nirmala Sitharaman announcing, as expected, big income tax relief for the middle class. I'll break down for you what exactly that means for you and for the salaried class. Let's begin. First, as always, with the headlines. Big relief for middle and salaried class in budget. No income tax till 12 lakh income per year. Nil tax slab extended from 7 lakh to 12 lakh. Now save up to 80,000 rupees per year in taxes. Prime Minister Modi hails budget, calls it the Janta Janardan budget, says tax relief for all income groups, claims other governments looted whereas the BJP is giving money. Big Bihar focus in union budget, capacity expansion of Patna airport, new greenfield airports to come up, a Makhana boat to be set up for farmers. Big healthcare push in budget. No custom duty on 36 life-saving drugs, 200 cancer daycare centers and district hospitals. EV and mobile batteries set to get cheaper. Defence budget hike in the union budget. 6.81 lakh crore allotted. Emphasis on Atmanirbhar boost. Focus on modernization and on welfare. Politics over union budget. Congress claims Bihar sops in budget because of election, says past promises yet to be fulfilled. Akhilesh claims Kumbh stampede deaths are more important than the budget. It's the biggest income tax relief for India's middle class in the last many years. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in today's budget announced a mega tax bonanza, one that was expected considering that there were hints dropped by the government for the last many days that they would be focusing on announcing some tax relief for the middle class. So what exactly is the relief? Well, essentially, if you earn an income of up to 12 lakh rupees, you won't have to pay income tax. No income tax payable considering the rebate. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced changes also in the tax slabs. If you choose, that is, the new tax regime, in a clear push to get more people to switch over from the old tax regime to the new tax regime. So first is, of course, the zero income tax for earnings up to 12 lakh rupees or 12.75 lakh rupees for salary taxpayers with a standard deduction of 75,000. But beyond that also, let's look at the other figures. Those earning 18 lakhs and above will get 70,000 tax benefit. Those in the slab of 25 lakh rupees income and above will get a tax benefit of 1,25,000 rupees. Now, clearly that is very different from what the rates were previously. So they've changed up entirely what really the slabs are in the new tax regime. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman soon after she presented the budget, acknowledging that everyone's praising her for rolling out a good budget. He's referred to this as the people's budget, saying most governments were focused on ensuring that government coffers are filled up. He says our focus is on ensuring that people's savings go up, boost people's savings.
The middle class provides strength for India's growth. This government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, has always believed in the admirable energy and ability of the middle class in nation building. In recognition of their contribution, we have periodically reduced their tax burden. Right after 2014, the nil tax slab was raised to 2.5 lakhs of rupees, which was further raised to 5 lakh rupees in 2019 and to 7 lakh rupees in 2023. This is reflective of our government's trust on the middle class taxpayers. I am now happy to announce that there will be no income tax payable up to income of 12 lakh rupees. rates are being changed across the board to benefit all taxpayers. The new structure will substantially reduce the taxes of the middle class and leave more money in their hands, boosting household consumption, savings and investment. In the new tax regime, I propose to revise tax rate structures as follows. 0 to 4 lakh rupees nil, 4.8 lakh rupees to 4 to 8 lakh rupees 5%, 8 to 12 lakh rupees 10%, 12 to 16 lakh rupees 15%, 16 to 20 lakh rupees 20%, 20 to 24 lakh rupees 25%, and above 24 lakh rupees 30%. To taxpayers up to 12 lakh of normal income, other than special rate income such as capital gains. I read that again. To taxpayers up to 12 lakh of income, other than special rate income such as capital gains, tax rebate is being provided in addition to the benefit due to slab rate reduction in such a manner that there is no tax payable by them. Our government is committed to keeping an ear to the ground and a finger on the pulse and responding while balancing our national building efforts. The following measures will detail just how our government, under the guidance of PM Modi, has taken steps to understand and address the needs voiced by our citizens. My tax proposals are guided by this spirit. The objectives of my proposals are as follows. Personal income tax reforms with special focus on middle class. Rationalization of TDS and TCS for easing difficulties. Encouraging voluntary compliance. Reducing compliance burden. Ease of doing business. Employment and investment.
ये बजट न केवल देश की वर्तमान आवश्यकताओं को ध्यान में रखता है, बल्कि हमें भविष्य की तैयारी करने में भी मदद करता है। स्टार्टअप के लिए डीप टेक फंड, जियोस्पेशियल मिशन और न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी मिशन ऐसे ही महत्वपूर्ण कदम है। मैं सभी देशवासियों को एक बार फिर इस ऐतिहासिक पीपल्स बजट की बधाई देता हूं और फिर एक बार वित्त मंत्री जी को भी बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। अब इस बजट में 12 लाख रुपए तक की आय को टैक्स से मुक्त कर दिया गया है। सभी आय वर्ग के लोगों के लिए टैक्स में भी कमी की गई है। इसका बहुत बड़ा फायदा हमारे मिडिल क्लास को, नौकरी पेशे करने वाले जिनकी आय बंधी हुई है, ऐसे लोगों को, मिडिल क्लास को इससे बहुत बड़ा लाभ होने वाला है। उसी प्रकार से जो नए नए प्रोफेशन में आए हैं, जिनको नए नए जॉब मिले हैं, इनकम टैक्स की ये मुक्ति उनके लिए एक बहुत बड़ा अवसर बन जाएगी। आमतौर पर बजट का फोकस इस बात पर रहता है कि सरकार का खजाना कैसे भरेगा, लेकिन ये बजट उससे बिल्कुल उल्टा है। लेकिन ये बजट देश के नागरिकों की जेब कैसे भरेगी, देश के नागरिकों की बचत कैसे बढ़ेगी। बजट में किसानों के लिए जो घोषणा हुई है वो कृषि क्षेत्र और समूची ग्रामीण अर्थव्यवस्था में नई क्रांति का आधार बनेगी। पीएम धन धान्य कृषि योजना के तहत 100 जिलों में सिंचाई और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का डेवलपमेंट होगा। किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड की लिमिट 5 लाख तक होने से उन्हें ज्यादा मदद मिलेगी। न्यू एज इकोनॉमी को ध्यान में रखते हुए गीग वर्कर्स के लिए बहुत बड़ी घोषणा की गई है। पहली बार गीग वर्कर्स का ई श्रम पोर्टल पर रजिस्ट्रेशन किया जाएगा। इसके बाद इन साथियों को स्वास्थ्य सेवा और दूसरी सोशल सिक्योरिटी स्कीम्स का लाभ मिलेगा। ये डिग्निटी ऑफ लेबर, इसके प्रति श्रम एव जयते के प्रति सरकार के कमिटमेंट को दर्शाता है। रेगुलेटरी रिफॉर्म से लेकर फाइनेंशियल रिफॉर्म्स, जन विश्वास 2.0 जैसे कदमों से मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट और ट्रस्ट बेस्ड गवर्नेंस के हमारे कमिटमेंट को और बल मिलेगा।
ये जो बजट की विशेषता ये है कि हमारी इकोनॉमी को एक्सेलरेट करने वाला ये बजट है। जहां तक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर